A Florida Republican just went viral. And not in the way a politician wants to, because this wasn't a speech. This wasn't a debate moment. This was one of those clips that makes people pause and go, wait, did he really say that out loud? And what makes it even more interesting is how fast the internet picked a side. Some people are calling it bold. Some people are calling it outrageous. And a lot of people are calling it a desperate campaign. Move designed to get attention. Here's what happened. A Republican candidate in Florida, named James Fishback, who's running for governor, went on TMZ Live and pitched a plan that immediately set social media on fire. His idea, a tax targeting OnlyFans creators, and not some small tax either. He reportedly floated the idea of a 50% tax on OnlyFans income. Now, the reason this caught traction isn't just the number, it's how he framed it, because he described it like a sin tax. And then started talking about how young women shouldn't be doing that kind of work and how the state needs to protect them. And the moment people
sin tax proposal in a Monday interview with right-wing YouTube channel NXR Studios. Let's take a look.
As Florida governor in year one, I will push for the first of its kind OnlyFans sin tax. If you are a so-called OnlyFans creator in Florida, you are going to pay 50% to the state on whatever you so-called earn via that online degeneracy platform.
Fishback has faced accusations himself of harassment from a woman who alleged that he started a relationship with her at 17. Fishback denied that, said he was exonerated. Fishback has also directed what some call racist jabs at his primary opponent, Republican Congressman Byron Donalds. Fishback explained on NXR why he thinks it's crucial to tax platforms like OnlyFans.
Any sexual intimacy outside of marriage is a sin. Marriage is between one man and one woman, and a society that tries to venerate and exemplify sexual degeneracy is not the society that our founding fathers fought and died for. Whether it's Drag Queen Story Hour, the objectification and commodification of women via OnlyFans, pornography, whatever it may be.
This guy is a nutcase.
Yeah, I thank God. I was like hoping that you didn't give any credit to what he was saying.
I get that he doesn't, right, he doesn't like sexual degeneracy or loose women or whatever. That's fine. There is no law you could make that would just target OnlyFans. OnlyFans is a platform that, allows people who make sexual content to receive money. You subscribe to it in the same way you subscribe to Patreon or to Rumble or to YouTube or to, this. If this somehow became law, you can't have a law that specifically targets one company. It has to be broader than that to, pass muster. So any law that you would structure to stop people from giving their money to someone who makes sexy content could be used for any independent content creator who makes any kind of content political.
People heard that. It became more than taxes. It became a culture war headline. Because whether you love or hate OnlyFans, most people can recognize what's really happening here. This isn't just about money. It's about morality, control, and politics. And if you've been watching American politics for the last few years, you already know the pattern. You pick a topic that triggers a strong reaction. You make a statement that forces people to argue, and suddenly you're trending everywhere. That's the strategy. Now here's the part people are missing. This isn't even a debate about whether you personally like OnlyFans. It's a debate about something bigger. If something is legal, should a politician be able to make it almost impossible to do through extreme taxation? Because once you normalize that, it doesn't stop at one platform. It becomes a playbook. And of course, Florida is the perfect place for that conversation because Florida is always at the center of these cultural flashpoints. Now, I'm going to play the clip here because you really need to hear it in his own words.
Entertainment, unboxing videos. This is an attack on us. Well, not us because we, work for a major company, but for people in our space who independent podcasters, creative type people who get revenue from Substack or Patreon or whatever it is.
Somebody could deem
that is an attack on them. So this is a dangerous, I know a lot of people don't like OnlyFans, that's fine. This is a dangerous assault on the First Amendment and on independent media, alternative media, that he has clearly not thought through because he is someone who, trying to become popular that way. Right. He's on Tucker. he seems like a grifter, frankly. He's adapted every kind of ideology. He was very pro-Israel. He wrote for the Free Press for Barry Weiss, and now he's like intensely anti-Israel, a little bit like Candy Cane. But in all seriousness, this is a proposal that threatens independent expression, not just sexual behavior, which again, I'm a libertarian, so I don't want to regulate that, but it would threaten everyone in the game of alternate media.
I think you hit the nail on the head. He's trying to grow his presence with some obnoxious stance that will propel him to national conversation.
I want to break some news here with you, Joel. I hadn't planned to do this, but allow me to do it. Which is that as Florida governor in year one, I will push for the first of its kind OnlyFans
but it also has fitness, trainers, chefs, and a bunch of other content.
If you are a so-called OnlyFans
there's a lot of content on there. And to charge people 50% of their income when they're already paying taxes is kind of absurd. And also, if you're going to be so
online degeneracy
appalled by everyday things that people consume, well, then you need to think about that same 50% tax for the strip clubs that exist in Florida, correct? You got to think about that for the alcohol. You got to think about that for all the variety of things that you would consider a sin under your religion, and think about how you're going to tax all those things. Not just
men have been told for far too long that they are guilty of masculinity, that they are guilty of all of society's ills. I'm not going to stand for that slanderous lie. What I'm going to do is I am going to end this lie that toxic masculinity is responsible for all the sins and ills of society. If you're an OnlyFans model and you reside in Florida, get ready to pay 50% of your income to the state. It is called a sin tax because it is a sin, number one. But the purpose of a sin tax in economics is to disincentivize and deter a behavior. And yes, as Florida governor, I don't want young women who could otherwise be mothers, raising families, rearing children. I don't want them to be selling their bodies to sick men online. And I don't want young, impressionable men who have strayed from Christ, who have strayed from our Lord and Savior, to be told and drawn into lust and have their entire brain rewired. We will raise hundreds of millions of dollars of income on the OnlyFans sin tax. And if we don't, Joel, if we don't raise that income, you know what it'll mean? It will mean something even greater has materialized for the young women and young men of our state, that the OnlyFans industry and its supporters, and you know who those supporters are, Joel, that its supporters will have been utterly robbed of their ability to rob us, not just of our hard-earned wages, but of our commitment to Christ.
Never in my whole life did I think that I would wake up and see a Florida politician trying to start beef with me for clout. So he's proposing a sin tax on bops where we would have to pay 50% to the state on top of the 37 I already paid to the government. And I would be more than happy to pay that if multi-billion-dollar corporations were also being properly taxed. But surprise, they're not. I never usually get into politics, but there are clearly better ways to raise funds from actual corrupt businesses in our country. I think that people also fail to realize that there are so many creators on this platform that do this job because they're struggling. So to tax them like that when they're literally doing it just to support their families is sad. I would much rather continue donating directly to people in need because we all really know where our tax dollars go.
Okay, so after hearing that, let's talk about why the reaction has been so explosive. Because the criticism isn't just that's too harsh. A lot of people are saying this is basically a politician trying to shame one group of people, while using them as a funding source at the same time. Like, imagine telling someone, I'm morally against what you do, but I'd also love 50% of your money to fund schools. That's where a lot of the backlash is coming from. It feels less like a policy plan and more like a punishment. And here's another thing. He made it sound like he's saving women from exploitation. But there are plenty of people online pointing out that many creators choose that work because it's flexible. It pays more than traditional jobs, and it gives them control over their time. So critics are asking, is this protection? Or is it control disguised as protection? And then there's the legal argument. When you try to tax one specific industry at a huge rate because you don't like it morally, you're walking into some very messy territory. Because people will say, so alcohol gets taxed, cigarettes get taxed. Sure, but this is different. This is a politician openly saying he wants to make it so high that people stop using the platform altogether. That's not just taxation. That's a political weapon. And when you start using the government like that, it gets dangerous fast. Now, to be fair, there is one reason why a plan like this can appeal to voters. Because a lot of people are genuinely uncomfortable with how normalized online adult content has become. They see it everywhere. They worry about younger people. They worry about what's being promoted as success. So it hits that emotional nerve. And politicians know that. But the problem is, when you turn everything into a moral panic, you stop talking about real solutions. Because if you truly care about exploitation, the conversation gets bigger than OnlyFans. It becomes about how people get paid, what jobs actually provide stability, why so many people feel like they have no options, and why the internet economy is growing faster than real wages. But none of that gets you viral. A headline gets you viral. And that's what this feels like. Now, here's my honest take as someone who follows this stuff. This looks like a candidate trying to create a national moment, not just a Florida moment. Because if you can get a clip like this spreading online, you don't need money for ads. The internet becomes your campaign. And even the hate helps him, because attention is attention. But the real question isn't whether you like him or not. The real question is, do you want politicians deciding what's moral and then building tax systems to enforce it? Because today it's OnlyFans. Tomorrow it could be something else, and it could be something you support. That's why this story matters more than it seems. So let me ask you this, and I really want your opinion. Do you think this is a serious policy idea that voters should support? Or is it just a viral stunt designed to spark outrage and get clicks?